Hi everyone! In this video, I'm going to show you how I clean up after I've done a painting with acrylic paint. I noticed there's not a lot of information being shown around on how to clean up after you do a painting, so here's the way that I do it. If there's better ways that you do it, then please do share. I'm going to be using this thing called the Masters Brush Cleaner and Preserver. It's like a bar of soap inside this little container that is activated with water. And then I just swirl around the paintbrushes that I've used on it and then rinse it off in a separate bucket of water. I prefer not to do this over a sink in the bathroom, mainly because I don't want any of the acrylic paint to settle and build up in the pipes, which can ultimately cause some plumbing problems. So that's what I'm going to be doing for all of the brushes that I've used, and occasionally clean off the soap inside the container. This brush soap is probably my favorite since it keeps my bristles really soft and it gets all the paint out, which is really great for when I start the next project and I don't have residual colors from my previous project. I've had this brush cleaner for many years and it's lasted a really long time. To be fair, I haven't been painting in a long time, so I have a lot of my brush cleaner left over, but I've had it since early college. So it's been around for a really long time. So after I finish cleaning all the brushes with the cleaner, I just stick the cap back on and just put the brush cleaner away to the side. And then as for the brushes, I just lay them flat on a piece of paper towel so that they can dry overnight. As far as my palette is concerned, I wanted to do a little experiment to see how wet or how long this thing can stay wet. So in my previous video that I showed you guys, I put a wet paper towel underneath this parchment paper that I use to put all my paints on top of. So ideally, if you just wanted to stop here, you can just peel that off and just throw it away, easy cleanup. But for me, I'm gonna cover it with some plastic wrap to see how many days it could be wet for. And as far as my jars of water that I use, my rinse water, I'm gonna leave it out on my desk for just a few days so that all the settlement can settle at the bottom. Hello, and welcome to the floor of my room. So these are the buckets of water that I used while I was painting. We'll get to that in a second. It's been a few days since I did the tiger painting. Let's see how wet this is. That is still wet. So this is really nice if you're going to be doing a painting or a project for however many days. If it's a big project or whatever, I tend to work really slow, so this is really nice. Or if you want to just keep paint squeezed out for, I guess, a few days. It's still pretty dry, all of my mixed paints are still fairly dry. This Stay Wet palette can stay wet for a very long time, and cleanup is easy. This is stuff you don't want to go into the drain because it is an acrylic paint. It is a plastic acrylic polymer paint. You just throw this away, pick up the paper towel, and it just goes in the trash can. This is clean. Now I can move on with my life. Now for the buckets of water. I tried looking on the internet on good practices for acrylic paint, and this is a fun little method that I found on YouTube, so I'm here to regurgitate this information. There's this artist that used kitty litter to throw away the acrylic paint. So just to kind of cut to the chase, and I'll explain why in a minute, but you literally just take your paint and throw it away in cat litter. And then it dries and clumps up, and then you just throw it away into landfill. So the reason why you don't want to just pour this down the drain, as I've been doing for the last couple of years, is because, for one, if you kind of look, I left my water pail out for a couple of days, so there's a lot of sediment at the bottom. Now this is the sediment that ends up going in your sink and possibly down into the ocean, where we don't want any more microplastics, and this is really bad for plumbing. So I've heard of methods where you can pour it through a coffee filter and then the coffee filter will collect it all, but I'm really lazy and I don't really need to purchase more coffee filters. All of this sediment here, this is all stuff that needs to go into landfill because this is unfortunately plastic and not very good for the drains. What I like to do at this point is, I think I've demonstrated before, I just take a wet paper towel or an alcohol wipe and I just kind of clean up all the sediment and I throw it away in the trash. And then I'll have a clean pail for when I paint next time. It's definitely easier to do while it's still wet, so just because for demonstration purposes, all of that sediment, you just pick it up with a paper towel. See, that's not fun going in the drain stuff. So yeah, this will eventually clump up and harden, and then I can just throw that away. I don't have a cat, so for those of you that have cats, you already have this in your possession, but I'm allergic to cats, so I had to go buy some kitty litter at the Costco, which my family was really confused. But once I explained, it all made sense. Now it's clean. Now this is clean. I didn't even have to go to a sink or a bathroom. I did this all from my desk, or the floor, which was really nice. And I hope that helps you in your after painting journey.